Hey guys, and welcome back to I Like Watches. It is Friday the 22nd of July, which means I've now been wearing this Seiko'S PB313 Prospex Diver for 21 days. This watch was released onto the market on the 1st of July, along with the 5KX GMT and the new King Seiko. Ryan at Francis & Gaye sent me this watch pretty pronto, so I had it on the 1st of July. I've been wearing it ever since. I have already produced a video. It was sort of an unboxing and first impressions video. I did go into quite a lot of detail though in that video. I went through most of the facts, figures, stats and specifications. So yeah, in this follow-up video, I'm not going to be running through all of those. I will put a full list of facts, figures, stats and specifications in the video description. The purpose of this video is really to just let you know what I think of this watch, having worn it now pretty much continuously for 3 weeks. I'll give you all the strengths, all the weaknesses, and then a little summary at the end. Now, I've actually just got back from Francis & Gaye in Coventry. I took back some watches that I had borrowed, including that King Seiko, and they've lent me another couple of very special watches. A brand new release by Ball. I think it's a new release anyway. And because the last video on a Grand Seiko quartz watch has done so well, it's up to around 115,000 views, I've now borrowed a Grand Seiko quartz GMT watch to show you guys. So yeah, I am looking forward to producing some content on these two watches. But in this video, you're going to see me run through what I consider to be the strengths and weaknesses of this new Prospex Diver. And yeah, like I said, a little summary at the end, so stick around. Enjoy the video. First up is, well, the brand and the model. I do personally love Seiko, the brand, and I love Prospex Divers. I love dive watches. So, yeah, for me, one of the main strengths of this watch, and I guess one of the main reasons I bought it, was because it was a new release, and it was by Seiko, and it's a Prospex Diver. So, yeah, for me, those are big strengths. And it is, of course, a reinterpretation. So the fact that there is some history to this particular design, although this actual watch isn't a very accurate representation of the original watch, I think it's actually the best looking one. It's also an ISO 6425 certified diver. They've had to incorporate certain design features and elements to the watch in order for it to qualify for that 6425 certification. But yeah, that just gives you, I guess, extra reassurance that the engineering and water resistance capabilities of this watch are going to be pretty exceptional. I think it's a really pretty watch. I do prefer this turtle style case over the Captain Willard. I like the fact that we don't have that extra case element here protecting the crown. I think there's enough protection with this case. Sort of shrouding that crown to some degree. There's better balance to this watch than there is with the Captain Willard. It is slightly slimmer and smaller than your standard turtle as well, and I love this colour combination, the white dial with this almost very pale baby blue day coloured lume and black and silver bezel inserts. I think it's a gorgeous watch. I also like the circular date complication at 4:30. Now, interestingly, if the crown was at the 3 o'clock position, you wouldn't be able to have the date complication at exactly 4:30. It would have to be sort of lopsided, either slightly closer to the 5 or the 4, because 31 into 60 just doesn't work. I also like the hands. They are a little bit different. They're not a bright polished silver finish. They're a more sort of gunmetal grey but still polished finish. And actually the outside, or the applied indices I should say, look like they match. It's not that easy to tell because that particular sort of polished silver finish around the lume is not particularly large. But it does look darker than your standard applied indices, and I think that colour, that darker tone to the applied indices in the hands, matches nicely with the bezel insert. And I mentioned it in the first video, the alignment of this watch is, well, pretty much perfect as far as I can see. Yeah, I've had a fiddle with the bezel in that first video, and the lume pip lines up nicely. All the applied indices seem to be in line and, you know, where they should be. So I don't know if this is a sign of things to come. I hope so. Maybe I've just got lucky. But yeah, the alignment is good. The weight, the dimensions, the thickness, the design, it all adds to the wearability of this watch. And yeah, I've got to say, I've not had any issues wearing this watch other than 1 or 2 days when it was particularly hot in the UK. My wrist swelled up to the point where I noticed the watch on my wrist. That sort of temperature and that sort of swelling, if you like, for me is quite unusual. I could have quite easily made some adjustment, perhaps put an extra link in and then adjusted the micro adjust, but I knew it was a temporary thing. So other than that, it's pretty much melted onto the wrist and I've hardly noticed it, to be honest. Very, very comfortable. I think the bracelet is definitely a strength of this watch. It's quite unusual, actually. The end links aren't perfect. Well, the bracelet isn't perfect. It's pin and collar, but actually, very comfortable. The perfect size and weight for this watch. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I also like the fact that they've shortened this clasp slightly. I will talk about the lack of micro adjusts in the negatives. But yes, with a full length outer shell coming to the end of these inner elements here that you can see, it would make the clasp look, when you include the diver's extension, just long and cumbersome, and it would just hide so much of this beautiful bracelet. Now the movement, I've just been and put it on the time grapher actually, and I've had it on the time grapher a couple of times over the course of the last 3 weeks, and in fact for the first week I pretty much wore it continuously during the day for that first week, every single day, and it was around plus 50 seconds at the end of the week, I think. Which I don't think is too bad. On the time grapher at the start it was around plus 10 seconds a day. I've just put it on the time grapher now. It's pretty much bang on, plus minus 1 second. It seems to be fluctuating between plus 1 second a day and minus 1 second a day. Now I know that changes when it's on the wrist. But I haven't noticed it being particularly inaccurate. It seems to be keeping decent time. The 6R35 beats at 21,600 beats per hour. I think I said 28,800 in the other video. It's 21,600. Hacks hand winds, 53-degree lift angle, 70-hour power reserve. A decent movement as far as I'm concerned. I've got a couple of them and I've not had any issues with them. I have seen a few comments from people saying they're dreadful, they fluctuate terribly. I'm not seeing any evidence of that. That may be true for some people, but for me it's a good movement. Now something I love about this watch is well, the lug width, the wearability, but also the fact that the ends of the case here are flat, which means you can wear it with quite a few different bracelets and leather straps, all sorts of straps. It's a bit of a strap monster, this one. In fact, I think it's probably one of the best Prospex divers for, well, I guess the options when it comes to wearing it on different straps. It's just so flexible, this thing, because it's not too big as well. So I think it looks good on even the sort of fairly slim and petite Vario 20mm Italian leather straps. It's insane, actually. It just doesn't look like a big chunky diver on a petite little leather strap. So yeah, this one is super flexible. It is the slimmest automatic Prospex diver. Incredibly slim, and yeah, when compared to some of their other divers, you can see just how slim this thing is. It's a fairly small case as well, cushion case, so very, very comfortable. Fairly short lug to lug, spring bar to spring bar length. It's definitely a Prospex diver you can wear day in, day out, all year round. But if I did pick this watch to wear day in, day out, every single day of the year, I'd have to live with a couple of weaknesses, and those are aluminium bezel insert. I know that's more in keeping with the original watch, but I do love a nice polished and bright and shiny ceramic bezel insert. They're also more hard wearing. Push pin and collar. I mean, we're used to Seiko watches coming with push pins and collars. They're actually not too difficult to change, a little bit fiddly. Those collars, they end up all over the place, don't they? Now, those of you familiar with my channel know I like to have a good fiddle with my dive watches, and in particular, I like to play with the bezels, and the bezel action on this is just okay. It's not a massive strength, it's also not a weakness. But one thing I have noticed is when I've fiddled with the crown, which doesn't happen very often, but every now and then I've wanted to just unwind the crown and put a bit of extra power into the watch first thing in the morning, and when I try to wind the crown back up, see, it's caught there, it's catching. Let me just undo that, and I'm going to keep reversing it. There we go, we've had a nice strong click, and now it winds in. I think you should always reverse the crown until you hear the click anyway. But we don't always do that, do we? Sometimes we just, pull the crown out, do what we need to do, and then start to wind it up, and yeah, look, it's caught again. Only 2 micro adjustments. The positive is, of course, the outer shell is nice and short, so you see more of the bracelet, but only 2 micro adjustments. I've actually been quite lucky. Well, I say lucky, 2 micro adjustments should be enough for most people. You have to be pretty unlucky to not get a pretty decent fit, or you just have to be very particular. I am quite particular about how I like my watches to fit, but I have on this occasion managed to get it to fit pretty nicely. And the last one is, well, sort of fingerprints, I guess, oily prints, I don't know what you want to call it, but this particular coating that they're putting on, I'm assuming it's the coating anyway, seems to be very susceptible to fingerprints. So you can see on the end links here, it's not actually that clear. I'm looking through the screen on the camera. In person it's much more visible, but you get these sort of dark patches where you've got basically oil from your fingers. It's basically just dirty finger smudgy prints, and in the corners it's lighter where you don't have those marks from your fingers. So you do tend to see the fingerprints, I think, more obviously on this watch than you would just a standard diver with 316L stainless steel and no hardened coating. The end links, are they a weakness? I actually don't mind them, and there were quite a few comments in the first video, or from the first video, from people saying the end links are terrible. I actually don't think they are. They're actually better than most Seiko end links. I really don't think they spend the time quite often to design very nice end links, and although these aren't exactly beautiful, I don't mind them myself. So not a strength, not a weakness. Right, let's move on to the summary, I think. Right, we are back at the desk. That was a fairly comprehensive list of strengths and weaknesses, wasn't it? I knew I wasn't going to cover the facts, figures, stats and specifications, so I just made as many notes as I possibly could. And, well, if you're going to wear this watch for 3 weeks, I think you need to be as thorough as possible with the feedback. But I may have missed some stuff, so if you have seen strengths and weaknesses to this watch, please let me know in the comment section. I do enjoy reading your comments. Things like the date window at the 4:30 position and being a circular date window, not that popular seemingly with quite a few people. I really liked it, so I was quite surprised and taken back when I saw those comments in the first video from people saying, oh, what is the date window doing there? It's circular, it's rubbish. Yeah, I really like it, but yeah, each to their own. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, guys. £990. I mean, some of their other SPB reinterpretations or recreations are £1,200. So I guess we should be thankful that it's not £1,200. Yeah, have a chat with Ryan if you're interested in this or any watch. Don't forget, if you sign up to their newsletter, you get 10% off any watch or anything from their store the first time you buy anything there. So there's always that option. But yeah, email him if you're interested in any watches. What else can I say about this watch? I've really enjoyed wearing it. I know I talked about potentially selling it. And that should be no reflection on the watch. It is just simply that I need to reinvest, the money that I've put into this watch in other watches. This channel is very expensive to run, and I've essentially got from this watch what I need. I've got other Prospex Divers that I don't like as much as this, by a long way actually, but I haven't got from those watches the content that I need. I don't feel as though I've got my money's worth in terms of producing content for the channel, whereas this, I think I have. I just don't see me needing this watch anymore. So yeah, it would be a real shame to let it go because I do love it. I'll give it some thought. Maybe I'll keep hold of it for a little bit longer. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you as always for watching. I do really appreciate it. Please do let me know what you think of this watch and the content in the comment section. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Cheers, guys.